everyone, and welcome to our 11th episode of this knitting podcast. My name is Diana and I will be your host. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me if you are a new viewer, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. So first of all, today is the 11th of May. It's a Wednesday as usual. I record my podcast on a Thursday. Getting my days muddled up. I record on a Thursday and then I post them on a Friday. And today is a lovely cool day. It's around about 15 degrees Celsius outside, which is really nice compared to the last couple of weeks where we've been having up to like 30 degrees. It's been really hot. So I'm really enjoying the weather today, and I hope that you are enjoying the weather wherever you are when you're watching this. So first off, I'm going to let you know where you can find me. I am on Ravelry as Craft Needle Addict, and that is my sort of personal sort of account, which you're welcome to add me as a friend if you'd like. And then we also have a Ravelry podcast group where you can comment on things that have been going on in my episodes and ask me any questions you like and give me any suggestions. And when I get back to the UK, I will be doing some draws for some yarn that I will have bought here in South Africa. So yes, and then the last place you can find me is on Instagram as xupx. And that's about it. We also have some show notes which you can find links to below this episode on YouTube, and the show notes are on my WordPress blog, which I set up specifically for the show notes. So let's get started with some finished objects. So my finished objects for this week are a pair of socks which were a whip from last week, and I really like how they came out. These were knit using the Winwick Mum basic sock pattern, and it's a really nice pattern if you're sort of beginning socks. There's a lot of support for it, and there's groups on Facebook and that sort of thing, and that's what I started with, so that is just sort of my go-to pattern now. And then I knit these with a 2.5mm needle, and the colorway is called Mashup. It's by Sodar Heart and Soul. And what I find really interesting is how the stripes worked up so differently to these socks, which I also knit using Sodar Heart and Soul. But this colorway is Mashup, and this colorway is Find Your Sea Legs. And this one has like a whole lot of thin stripes, and then one big blue, light blue stripe, and then a whole lot of thin ones, and then the repeat of that big light blue stripe. Whereas these ones, all of the stripes are sort of the same sort of small stripes. Alright, so here's just a close-up of the yarn. This is the Find Your Sea Legs, and as you can see, there's the thin stripe, two thin stripe repeats, and then a thick one, and then another two thin ones. So, oops, that is that one. And then we have the mash up, and this one, they're all sort of the same size. Which I'm really enjoying these. I have noticed that in some spaces they seem to be a bit, like here you can see some of the dark dye kind of carried over, got a bit smudged there or something, but it's not too noticeable, and I know that the recipient of these won't mind. You can see more there. I know the recipient won't mind, but if you are someone who's sort of like a perfectionist and doesn't like that sort of thing, then that is something to notice about the Sodar Heart and Soul yarn. So I found that interesting that they don't have like sort of a separate range like the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. Depending on which range you buy, whether you buy the cocktail range or you buy the sort of their bird range, the different ones have different sort of stripes or patterns, but they all seem to, if you buy one from the same range, it all seems to be the same. Whereas these ones, they seem to have knitted up differently, so I just found that interesting, so you can sort of compare the difference from, but I still think you can see that they're knit using the same sort of brand of yarn. It's got a very similar sort of feel about it. What else can I tell you about these socks? Not much. I just really enjoyed knitting these. Oh, I was gonna knit these on. I've knit these one sock at a time, which is not something I usually like to do because I do suffer from second sock syndrome. But I have one pair of needles which already has a sock on it, so I only have one spare pair of needles. And I went to the shops and I bought some bamboo needles to try, and it's by the L range, which I think is only a South African brand. But although the packaging said that they were 2.5, when I got them home, I don't know why I decided to measure them because I don't usually measure them, but I did, and they're actually 2.75. So I have not used those yet because I don't know. I'm going to have to experiment and see how I need to adjust my stitches for knitting on that. So unfortunately I have to knit these one at a time instead of concurrently. But so far so good. I've been sort of forging ahead with that, and that seems to be working. So I think that's all I've got to say about these socks. Yeah. So moving along to whips, I don't have any current active whips. I do have a pair of vanilla latte socks going for my husband, but I haven't touched them since I've got here. And I also have a pair of Rose City rollers for myself, which I also haven't touched since I've got here. So I don't have any active whips, but the next thing I'm going to be knitting is a scarf for my dad. So I have these. They are the James C. Brett Top Value Machine Washable Double Knitting. I haven't really heard of this brand before. It says here it's made in England, but the reason I chose this is because it's 100% acrylic, and as I've said many times, my father is allergic to wool, so I went with these. So I've got two balls of the black and one of the orange, and he's got like a bright orange raincoat, so he wanted it to match. And at first I was going to do black with orange stripes, but now I've decided, and I've spoken to him and he's happy with this, what I'm going to do is sort of the middle section that comes over is going to be in the black, and then the two end parts at the bottom are going to be in this orange, and I'm going to do sort of like a snowflake fade. I don't really know how to explain it. I have it in my mind, and I'm going to do a fade between it. And I haven't found a pattern yet. I'm going to go, after this podcast, I'm going to go look for a pattern, and if I cannot find a pattern, then I will make one up, because I'm fairly certain I know how I'm going to do it. So if I do, I'll write up a pattern. I might put that on my Ravelry if it works out. And I don't know if these have colorways. This orange is shade 8443, and the black is 8430. So that is the next thing I'm going to be knitting. And then once I'm finished this, also because my father's birthday is in May, so I'll probably still be here, and so I would like to get this done for his birthday. And I might see what I can do to maybe not let him see it while I'm knitting it, even though he knows what it's going to be. It might be kind of a cool surprise if he only sees it for his birthday. And then the next thing that I'm going to be knitting which is going to be for my mom, is going to be a shawl out of this yarn. This is a B-Loom in the Sip Sip range. It's 100% merino machine washable wool, and it feels so nice. It's really nice. I've worked with this before. If you've seen the shawl that I knit for my mother-in-law, it's the same yarn, just a different colorway. And these don't have colorway names, unfortunately. But I will put a link to the Etsy shop in my show notes. But yeah, it's a really nice yarn, and I can't wait to work with it again. And we're not sure yet. My mom's sort of still thinking about what she wants, because she's also a knitter, and so she's been on Ravelry looking at patterns, and either I'm just going to knit her like a sort of shawl scarf, sort of one of the small wrap ones, or we might go and try and find some 4-ply fingering weight yarn to match this, kind of either the yellow or the grey, and make it a bit bigger with that sort of contrasting between the variegated and like a solid color. So I'm not sure about that yet, but that will be the next thing I knit after I do the scarf. So I'm very excited, and I'm very excited to start the scarf because it'll have a bit of color work in it, which I haven't done in quite a while. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. And I think that that is it for my knitting this week. For needleless chatter, I can tell you that I've been very busy this week with my visa application, so that's why I haven't really been doing much. I only managed to finish the socks that I started, was like already halfway through last week. Because on Sunday my husband finally got like the last sort of documents we needed to apply, and so since then we've been having like every night we have a Skype chat to sort out the visas and filling out forms and making sure everything needs like an introductory letter and everything needs to be in the right format and the right order, and so it's just been a lot of work, busy going through things and sorting things out and filling things out. It's just been a lot, and it's still not done yet. I'm still waiting for more documents to be created here so that I finally have those, and then I have to make copies of everything. But I have an appointment for my final hand-in, and I'm guessing an interview of some sorts, and that's going to be next week. So there's light at the end of the tunnel, but it's been quite stressful, obviously, trying to get everything done and organized, and I haven't really been able to have space in my mind to think about other things. I've just been thinking about the visa. But I'm so glad that progress has been made, because I really can't wait to be back in Edinburgh with my husband. I really miss him. Yeah, in other news, I don't know if I told you last time that I finished the Harry Potter book. And then my friend came over and we watched the Harry Potter movie, and now we're going to be starting soon the Harry Potter 2 book. So that's happening, and I'm excited to carry on reading that. And in other news, I've also started playing Witcher 3 again. I got it this year in January for my birthday, but, well, I don't know if I got it in January or if I got it for Christmas. I think I might have got it for Christmas in December, so I played it a bit, but then when I flew to Edinburgh in January, then I kind of got so overwhelmed with finding a place for my husband's stay and everything, and I got really back into my knitting, I stopped playing. So now that I'm back and things have sort of calmed down, I've sort of got back into it again. I'm not playing that much, I just play like a tiny bit every day, and I have gone from level 10 to level 12. So like I said, I'm not playing very much, I'm just playing a little bit. And my friend came over and taught me how to play Gwent, because if you don't know, Witcher 3 has, inside of the game, it has like a separate card game that you play with different merchants and stuff. And I'm really bad at sort of strategy and card game sort of things. So my friend taught me how to play, and I'm actually really enjoying it now. Before, whenever I had to play Gwent, I'd just call my husband and be like, come play this game for me, because I don't know what's going on. So that's quite exciting. The card game Gwent kind of reminds me in some sort of way of like Magic the Gathering, if you ever played Magic the Gathering, but it's less complicated. So yeah, I think that that is it for everything. I think this is going to be a really quick episode this time, but yeah, thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe or like, or and please come join us in our Ravelry group and get involved in the chats, and feel free to ask me any questions or comment on anything that you would like to.